Hello and welcome back to PitchFront, where we talk about everything from the pitch to the front office. I'm Justin,
I'm Ricardo.
and today is actually deadline day today. So we have just two transfers we're going to be talking about, two big transfers, two big teams in the Premier League. And from then, we're going to go on into the first 3 weeks of the Premier League, what's been happening, kind of our predictions for the fourth week, and then the Champions League draw was yesterday from the day that we're recording, which is September 1st. So, going to go into that, talk about the draw, Group F, the group of death this year. We hope you guys enjoy. Let's get right into it.
We can move up to the next topic, which I just want to talk about. These past 3 weeks, I know we haven't been recording a lot, but these past 3 weeks at Premier League, they have been kind of wild, honestly. Most games we went in, and I was expecting a lot from them, and it went the other way. Some other ones I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna watch that game," but I saw a lot of potential on even these new players that these new teams that got promoted. But yeah, one of the first ones I want to talk about is West Ham.
Yeah.
We were just going through the roster a little earlier, and that West Ham team is stacked. They have some interesting names, and I mean, they lost their week 1 game. If I'm not wrong, they lost their week 1 game.
Let's see if we can find it.
They tied. Sorry, so they tied, and that first game was kind of shaky for them, obviously. Then they went out to play with Chelsea, and obviously Chelsea, when you think about Chelsea, you think of Chelsea as a whole. But the last couple of years, Chelsea has been pretty disappointing. So they went on to beat them 3-1, and the West Ham looked well. Then this past weekend, they played Brighton, and that game, well, I know they could score because they've shown West Ham could score goals, but their defense was on point. Brighton had been coming from scoring, I think, 8 goals in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So I think now they have 9 because the West Ham beat them 3-1. But Brighton could definitely have some scores. They could definitely get to the final third and then make things happen. But West Ham, they played really well. And yeah, I think this team is going to go far. I mean, I know it's week 3, but just the things that I'm seeing, and obviously there's a lot of new faces, so the chemistry's not 100% there. I mean, there's chemistry, but they're still trying to build it, trying to know each other. I think once they figure that out, this team's just going to fly.
Yeah, I think still, I didn't see them lose a lot of players from last year, from what I remember. So a lot of those players are probably still riding that high of coming in and winning the Conference League last year.
Conference League, yeah, that's right.
Even though in the league they were disappointing, I think they were about like 16th or something, almost like near relegation. They still had a great European run, and they're in the Europa League because of it. And this is a team that could make a charge towards that top 4 this year, and make another charge at another European title possibly. As long as they do stay healthy, do stay fit. Obviously, that's for most teams other than Man City. They are definitely a team to watch because they've kept basically their whole team, and they've made some really good additions to it as well.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think this team will definitely go far, and then I can't wait to see them in the next couple of games. The other one I want to talk about is Newcastle. Newcastle's one of those where week 1 they went and beat Aston Villa 5-1. I mean, Aston Villa has some injuries. I know. I'm forgetting his name. Brazilian.
Paqueta?
No, Paqueta is with West Ham.
Oh yeah.
Coutinho. He's hurt. So I mean, I know Coutinho. He's the guy that gets the ball and makes everybody play. So I think that was one. So I didn't pay much attention. But then when they play Man City, even though they lost that game, Man City did not seem comfortable at all times. I mean, we're used to seeing when Man City struggles, we're used to seeing them. They're in the final third, and the team is just they have a wall back there that they can get through, and that's how Man City struggles. But that game, I saw them struggle. They were just not comfortable. And I know it's second week, but when you have players, when you have the roster that Man City has, we can't. I think we can't sit here and be like, well, it's week 2.
Yeah.
Just because you even from the back line, you have these fucking
Yeah.
players that could ball out. To where I think Newcastle, I think that's where I took my hat off for Newcastle, and I was like, hey, well, this team might be onto something. Again, we're just starting out, but we're gonna see how it goes. And I mean, they also got a loss against Liverpool last week, but that game was one of those games where it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, Liverpool is, even though they're not what they used to be, Liverpool's Liverpool. With that coach and those kids getting that motivation, they're gonna just go off. So
Yeah, I mean, definitely that was definitely a good game for Liverpool. Being a man down and coming back to win the game is definitely good. But yeah, this is a Newcastle team that like added a star person to their midfield with Sandro Tonali, a player I definitely highly rate, and I think brings a lot to this team. I think they're definitely one of the teams to watch this year, along with West Ham, a team that can definitely upset those top 6 teams in the Prem, and possibly, last year they moved on into the Champions League. They're a team that could, in the years to come, should be challenging Man City for titles in terms of in the Premier League, be challenging for those Carabao Cups, for the FA Cups. They're definitely a team to watch this year alongside this growing West Ham team.
yeah, so those would be my 2 teams at least each 3 weeks. I mean, there's a lot of teams, like we said, but that's what I'm staying with. And obviously, I mean, we can talk about Man City. I mean, Man City's gonna be Man City.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, the roster they have is wild. There's some players that get the ball and they do some crazy things that I'm like, how do you even do that? But I mean, Man City's always gonna be there, and I just want to talk about it because the rest of the league, the rest of the 19 teams, if they want to beat someone, even if there's a rivalry going on, they want to beat Man City. Just because if you beat Man City, you're gonna earn some respect.
Yeah, I mean, but if anyone's going to come into this year and really like challenge Man City, I think it is going to be this year, because Kevin De Bruyne is injured and they lost Gundogan, which are like last year was their 2 major attacking playmakers.
Yeah, it's the base of the team.
It's what the players that build up basically 90% of the attacks that they have.
Yeah, maybe that's another reason why they look shaky against that Newcastle team. When I was talking about it earlier, is they didn't have anybody to, I mean, kind of set. Yeah, obviously holding mids and their back line moves the ball a lot, but once they were in there, those 2 players that are gone, they had the patience to, like we were talking about with ManU, the addition they're gonna have. They're gonna have that player that calms the ball down and gives you the perfect pass for you to just touch or put it away. But yeah, I think they're gonna struggle. Man City might struggle, and I just say struggle in quotations just because they're gonna win most of the games. I mean, it might not be what we're used to, 3-0, 4-0. But till right now, till they get some players that could play those roles, and also if they end up finding somebody in their youth team that's gonna replace De Bruyne, they're gonna be a 1-0 every time, 2-0. I'm not gonna see them go crazy 5-0.
Yeah, I mean,
just in the past.
In match week 2 and 3, they won 1-0 and 2-1.
Yeah.
Which is like, obviously they're still winning games, but for the Man City that we know, much closer games, and I think a lot of Man City fans would like, and kind of what we compared, 2-1 to Sheffield United is not really something you'd be expecting from this Man City team.
Yeah.
You'd be thinking more of like 4, even 5-0.
Yeah. And I mean, it's that. I mean, the good thing that they have is they just need a player that could get the ball to the forwards. I know Haaland gets the ball inside the 18, it's probably going to be a goal.
Yeah.
We've seen Alvarez, I'm forgetting his first name.
Julian
Alvarez. We've been seeing him coming off the bench, and I think that kid should be starting, and he could definitely start in any other Premier League team. But every time he comes off the bench, he just hustles and makes things happen.
Yeah.
So I think they have it, just because we were talking about earlier, ManU, they have it harder because they don't have forwards. Like their forwards aren't box players, to where Man City, that's how they play. So if they could get the ball in the box, they're gonna score some goals.
Yeah. Yeah. So we could see a Man City team that, for their standards, is maybe struggling a bit this year. And kind of moving on to the other Manchester team, Manchester United, which we're also just talking about. They do have a forward in Rasmus Haaland, but he hasn't been playing. So I'm not quite sure. I don't know. He's not injured, is he?
I don't think he's injured.
I don't know.
I think it was not of manager's petition, like he didn't request him or whatever. So I think it might be that. I also think he might not be. I mean, he's always trusted the force he has now. So, and they haven't been bad. Like Rashford hasn't been bad, because Rashford hasn't been, like, I can't remember a season where he was like, damn, where he was up here. He's had good moments, but he's been like coming down, kind of steady.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's done a crazy drop where it's like, oh yeah, he should get replaced. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's been trusting him the last season for sure. So I think he's just gonna stick to his own and go with what he thinks.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if we talked about the games that they played, this team should have been on the standings with only 3 points. Because I think that Wolves game.
Yeah.
I mean, it hurts us just because we're Wolves, but
yeah.
I think that game, Wolves definitely could have scored a couple ones.
Yeah.
Like they could have easily been up, I don't know, what, 2-0 by the half? Maybe even 3.
Could have been.
And then, I mean, obviously, ManU's goal, and then the PK, and then there was all that going on that I'm not going to get into right now. But I think this team needs a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, the addition that they're going to have with this holding mid and somebody that could just make everybody plays good. I just think, if you think about center mids, they have way too many.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's what? Casemiro, Aramba, Eriksson, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes.
It's too many.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are you going to use these? Because again, if we go and you're trying to build a super team, like, I get it, but you have 5 center mids.
And then their attacking options are like Rashford, Martial, Garnacho.
Yeah, I just don't see how he would turn this around. Like because the center mids, they're holding, they can't play on the wings. So I was thinking maybe play with 5 center mids, not 5 mids, but 5 mids, 1 forward. But you don't have a forward that's capable of getting the ball. What we're talking about, a Lukaku, Erling Haaland, where if he's in the box, he gets the ball, and he could either muscle through it, or he's just gonna hit the ball and it's gonna go in. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting seeing how stacked that is, and I don't know. It might turn into the old and current Real Madrid, current Barcelona, where they were getting these star players, and they were just going to waste. Yeah. They weren't getting playing time, and then when they would get playing time, then their value drops, and then they end up going to the Portugal league.
Now Saudi Arabia.
Well, yeah. I mean, which would be good, that route, but I mean, I hope they come to the MLS. It's closer to us, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is gonna be an interesting team. I think honestly, that Forest game too, ManU, I think they were losing 2-0. Yeah, I think they were down 2-0.
I think so.
I think they were down 2-0.
Yeah. And
they had a red card. And I think that's when Forest.
Yeah, so they were down. ManU was down 2-0 in the first 5 minutes. Brought 2 goals back. Forest got a red card, and then they scored.
They won it.
They won with a penalty from Bruno.
So I think, I mean, good comeback from any team, even if you're losing 2-0 2-0, 1-0, and even if they get a red card, a comeback is always a booster.
Yeah.
But I just think if that red card doesn't happen, I'm going to pass, and it's not going to change. But I think that could have been a different outturn, a different game. I mean, I think it could have ended up in a tie. I know Forest. I hate Forest, but I think they deserve to win. Again, but this is about scoring and not who deserves.
Yeah, but at the same time, looking at who's on the scoring sheet, they're all midfielders.
That's what I'm telling you. Like they're
it's Eriksen, Casemiro, and Bruno. Their attacking options in the front three are like just not good enough.
Yeah, and then I would understand if you have if you're playing the formation that I'm telling you, 5 mids, one up top, and your person up top is Greensman, where he would come out of the box and get the ball out in the wing, or come back, let the wingers go up, and then come in. So, but it's somebody who is supposed to be in the box. That's what their forwards are. But they just don't. I don't know. They don't use them, and their game style. It kind of seems to me that it's like, let's just take it down the line and cross, and we got top players, and we can muscle through it and score, or just shoot from outside. Because I honestly haven't seen much creativity from this team.
Yeah, it's like their forward options. Rashford, who's just better out on the wing. He's just not that good in the striker position, at least in comparison to how he is out wide. Martial, who's just not good enough. Garnacho.
I mean, and he's young too.
Yeah, and I think he's been playing out on the wing. And the other wingers you have are like two young wingers who are struggling in Jadon Sancho and Anthony.
Yeah, but
not
because
doing well.
then again, like I just don't know what they play for, and the thing is that I would understand, like, Man City, most teams park the bus. For ManU, yeah, you get some teams that are parking the bus, but the last games that we've seen, it's not like that.
No.
And they struggle to get to the final third.
Yeah.
So I think obviously once teams get fit, I mean, hopefully this ManU team could change it, especially with the additions they've had. But I think once they're fit, they're just gonna find themselves in a harder spot because teams aren't fit right now.
Yeah.
So once they get into week 10, 11, where they're 100% fit, obviously if they don't have injuries, they're going to be flying for those counterattacks when they play Man United.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm not going to be surprised if Erik ten Hag's gone by December. That might be a hot take, I'm not sure. But I rate Erik ten Hag first and foremost, but I just don't see the vision with this team. I don't see where he's going. I don't see how he's going to get the results he's going to need to get from this team in order to stay in that manager role. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong. I think he's a really good manager, but right now it's just I think it's just a little hard to see where this team's going.
Yeah, and then also, like, I think we're seeing something that we're seeing with Liverpool. Like Liverpool, the only thing with Liverpool was successful. Liverpool went to Champions League semifinals, finals. They won the Premier League, and then it's coming this slump. They're getting into this hard time where, you know what, we need a new team. I think the thing with Manchester United is that it's the same thing. They might need a new team, but the thing with them is they've never won anything.
Yeah.
So then I feel like a lot of their fans, and I mean, I know a couple of their fans, they're like, yeah, but these players got it. And yeah, if you think of a Sancho, if you think of an Anthony, I think of them not wearing the Manchester United jersey. I think of Anthony with Brazil. I think of Sancho when he was with Dortmund.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking of these players before they came to Manchester United. I mean, Casemiro, his career just speaks for itself. But that's the thing, they need new players. But if your base is the players that were there that weren't working, I think that's just going to affect everybody else coming in. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen because I obviously want to see Manchester United be a little better, be in the top, I want to say 6 teams to make that competition up there. But chances are it's not. But I guess we'll see just as the weeks go by.
Yeah.
The ball starts rolling. I want to move on to Arsenal, if you want to, and I think it's a good thing. And I just want to point out their first game they beat Forest. Now I hate Forest, but that 3-2 loss against ManU. Are we going to see the same thing from Arsenal? Because I expected Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal went pretty far and played really well. We were talking about it earlier off camera that I thought it was like a group effort. I think everybody wasn't on the same page and everybody was there. Everybody wanted it, and obviously they got confident. It just wasn't enough for them. But this Forest team would not be as bad as I think.
No. But yeah, for
or Arsenal and Man U are on the same boat.
Yeah, I think it might be a bit of both. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing. I'm looking at this Arsenal team, and I think we might have talked about this when we were talking about the Kai Havertz transfer. Is that I feel like Arteta's trying to force Kai Havertz like into this team when the team doesn't really like fit for him almost. I feel like this team would almost be better without him in it almost. Like, I think just having just Odegaard at that attacking mid role and would be better for this Arsenal team.
Yeah, it's interesting to see just because, yeah, like you're right. Just a few things like these players that moved into Arsenal are players that you expect a lot from.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like, we'll see him week 3 because he has to adapt to the team. No, they're that good that we should be seeing stuff happen right now.
Yeah.
And we're just not even, like they don't even have the spotlight for 15 minutes of the game. They're just really quiet. So, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with this team, but I hope they can make it work because they spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think these players are good. They just got to find their spot. And again, I just hope it's not wasted talent.
Yeah. I mean, you're just going to have to look and see what Arteta can do to bring the most out of the talent that these players have. And, they got Declan Rice and Kai Havertz into their midfield.
Think about it, that's a midfield that any team would want.
Yeah. Obviously the vast majority, except for like maybe.
Yeah, I mean the
Real Madrid.
Yeah. Those mids, but everybody else. It's like those players would help their team a lot. Again, maybe it's just maybe they just need some time. Maybe the chemistry's not there, but I think even if the chemistry's not there, I think they would be playing a little better. That's just me. Again, we might be too hard, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. So, when we're thinking of signing these players like Kai Havertz and Declan Rice that are going to be, 80, 100, 115 million dollars or euros each, what as fans of either the teams or just fans of the games in general, what should we expect from these players? Should we give these players that are so expensive the same sort of grace period that we give to most other players, that they're going to be coming into a new team and, have to adapt? Should these players that are worth this much money be given the same sort of grace that we see players that are only signed for 20, 40 million get? We see players like Jude Bellingham, who came in for 100 million to Real Madrid. He comes, I think, 3 games in, he has 4 goals and an assist.
Yeah, he's making things happen.
Yeah, Harry Kane for Bayern, 100 million. He's come in, I think, like 3 games. I think he already has 3 or 4 goals and an assist. These players that come in, they didn't need a grace period to come in, instantly adapt, instantly making a difference in this team. But we see players like, Caicedo, who was signed for 100 million, Mudryk, Enzo Fernandez, who come in and, they come into obviously a Chelsea team is not doing well, but we're giving them grace, saying, okay, it's new. Should we be giving these players grace when we see that other players who are signed for the same amount of money not needing it?
I don't. Well, again, if I'm a fan, if I'm a fan, at first as a fan, you tend to protect the player. Like so you're like, oh yeah, he's getting it. I mean, I think after a while, I think after 5 or 6 games is when if not performing, which they've got, I don't know, 2-3 more weeks, and then fans are gonna start getting on them. But as a front office, I think a front office, as much as we see soccer as what it is, football, we don't think that it's a job. And again, if I'm the hiring, if I make the signing, I'm the hiring manager, I expect that person to perform the same way they perform in Spain or Italy or whichever country they were playing, whichever team they come from. So I think as a front office, you definitely expect them to perform on a specific. I don't know, if they're performing at a 80, let's say, you expect them to be there. Obviously you're trying to help them reach 100%, but also that comes with the coach. Like, there's so many factors going on where it's like, well, if we know Havertz doesn't fit there, like, and they're trying to push him, a lot of us that know soccer might say, no, that's never gonna work. You know what I'm saying? But again, as a fan, it becomes to a point where, again, I think when we get all excited, we get a new player, we're like, oh, him, and then does bad for first 2 weeks, it's all right, he'll get it. But then after that, that's when it's like, hey, the club is first. And that's when you start expecting the player to raise it up, and that's where you start, that's where the bad things start happening, where now they have pressure from the fans and stuff like that. So I think that's what's going on. And I think, at least I think they should be performing. Because I'm thinking as a whole, like, well, this club spent so much money for you, and you were playing at this. Like, why are you playing over here? And I'm right now, when you were talking about it, I'm thinking of Chelsea. That Chelsea team, though, he had a lot of help.
Yeah,
he had a lot of help. I mean, just defensive or the work rate that they would have. He had Conte with him. Like, that's a relief. You have Conte in the field with you. If you don't get to a ball, he's gonna run through you and get that ball for you.
Yeah.
To where Arsenal, I mean, I'm not saying they don't have players like that, but they don't have anybody like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a thing where you kind of have to take it case by case and look at each player and kind of the team they're being brought into, and then maybe. At the same time, it could be like clubs are just overspending. Like,
well, that's one. I mean, honestly, when
like, I think for like Anthony, I don't think he was ever worth as much as Man United paid for him. And I think it probably would have helped him a lot if he didn't have that kind of price tag over his head, where fans see, oh, you were worth this much, we demand this much. Because I don't know if as a player he would have been able to get to that, those heights.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, now that you mentioned that, I think it's only gonna get worse, just because. I mean, this happens in Liga MX a lot, where there's this team that only plays with Mexicans. It's Chivas. They don't play with. They have to be born in Mexico or Mexican through their parents. So if their parents are born are Mexicans, born in Mexico, they can play for the team, kind of like the national team type of thing.
Yeah.
Right. So when they're trying to buy players, they're limited, right? Because they're just Mexicans. I mean, there's big market obviously because you're in the country, you're in Mexico. But say you're a club and you're selling a forward, Mexican forward, scores 20 goals in the last season. And I'm Chivas and I'm going to go ask for him. So you're going to tell me price, you're going to tell me 15 million, let's say, for small numbers. And it happens a lot where in Monterrey, Tijuana, somebody that doesn't have that standard comes and asks for the club, for the player. And he's like, oh, your rate's going to be 9 million. Just because if you tell me a high number, that's what I got, that's what I have to spend. But other players, they could go to Argentina, and so I think the issue here now is going to be Saudi Arabia. Because Saudi Arabia, if you put Messi out for Mbappe for $1 billion, they were down to pay it.
Yeah.
Now, if you put a high, because it's like, all right, well, if he's worth 200 million, I'm gonna say 250, because I know if Saudi wants to take him, they're gonna pay him,
Yeah.
and that's gonna make all these other teams struggle. Now they're gonna pay for a 250 million player because it's gonna help him out in the field, marketing, and all this other stuff. But he might be $100 million player.
Yeah.
I think.
I think you're right, because like if we look at like Caicedo for Chelsea, he's probably like a 70-80 million dollar player.
Yeah.
And then you see Brighton say no, like we think we can get like 90 million for him. Then Liverpool comes in and says, okay, we'll pay 110 million.
Exactly.
He actually says no to Liverpool, and then Chelsea has to pay 115 million for him.
Exactly. So you're talking about 40 million, $30 million in difference.
Yeah.
Where that's back in the day, that was fucking Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
And that's what they're worth, you know. So again, inflation and all this, but I think it's just one. I mean, it's whoever has the money is gonna get the player. I think it's gonna come down to that.
Yeah.
But I think the issue with that, it's just gonna come later, just because at first with the Ronaldo move, I was like, Saudi's just gonna be like China was a couple years ago. They're bringing big stars, but now they're like, you know what? Let's just let the money go somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting. So we could talk about Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea, what place are they? 10th place, Chelsea.
Yeah. I mean,
And they started the 13th with a tie. They played Liverpool with the tie.
yeah, they tied Liverpool. It's kind of a weird game. I think there was some controversy with like a handball. The two teams are like, I guess, both rebuilding. Chelsea, I don't even know what Chelsea's trying to build, but yeah, top teams rebuilding.
They're bringing a lot of young players, though, at least from what I've seen. So I think that's going to be good for them. But then again, the fans want
results now.
And it's you're talking about Chelsea. You're talking about historically a big Premier League team.
Yeah.
So I mean, not a bad start. They tied against Liverpool, which both teams are building. They lost against West Ham. I mean, we talked about West Ham, and I think that, I mean, they knew it was going to be a hard team, and they beat one of the teams that just got promoted.
They just beat Luton Town.
Which
3-0.
That team does not play bad. I mean, they don't have a lot of players, but the players that they have that are like strong, they're.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's also kind of like a what's it called? Not a trial, but what's that thing? Where colleges go and look at you. Scouting for them. They want them. I mean, realistically, we're thinking the teams that got promoted, they're probably going to get relegated. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they fight for it. But this also their kind of time for those players to be like, hey, you know what? I want to be signed by one of these guys and stay here.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least I watched. I forgot which game I watched. And those players were balling out. I mean, they were trying. They were playing hard.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea's just gonna have another Chelsea year. I don't see crazy things coming for them, but we'll see.
I mean, yeah, we'll have to see what Poach can do with this team. I don't. With the other teams that are around, like, let's say if West Ham and Newcastle weren't as good as they were, I don't see them, or I can see Chelsea being in the top 6 with them both there, and like another team that's like an Aston Villa or like a Brighton, who are still like very competitive teams. We might see another year where Chelsea's not going to have any European football if things don't turn around and start looking for the better for them, which with the talent they have and the coach that they have, they obviously can do. It's just whether or not, we'll end up seeing it happen.
Yeah, but I think what Chelsea did was good. They kind of, it's the same thing that we're talking about Liverpool. It's like their team got old, and it's like, so they got rid of all their stars, and it's like, well, we got to build a new team. I just think they should have done it the way Real Madrid did, where they get rid of a forward and let's bring a good real striker or let's develop one, and then they kind of start going on every position.
Yeah.
Because that's what Real Madrid did. I mean, Real Madrid
Yeah.
got rid of Ronaldo left. I mean, they had Benzema, and I mean, I still don't think they have their striker, but they're don't struggle for goals. And then their midfield, I mean, they had the best midfielder for years with Casemiro, Cruz, and Modric, and now it's like it's weird to see him play on a Sunday and they're on the bench, and you have these kids playing and they're just balling out.
Yeah.
I think they could have gone about it a different way, but then again, I mean, each team does what they think it's best for them. But I think it's good that they're kind of bringing fresh new players, and it's kind of a new era, let's say, for the club.
Yeah. We'll just have to see, It's kind of a lot of unknowns because it's basically a brand new team.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see how the old players that are still here, like Sterling, Thiago Silva, how they fit into these teams. And you're going to see how, the players they signed last year who didn't do well come into this team. And then you're going to have to see how the new players they signed this window fit into this team. So a lot of different faces all vying for positions and attempting to work together to meet the common goal is basically getting into European football again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all I have for Chelsea, and I mean, I want to see them do good. Again, I think Premier League's one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive league out there. I think it's the number one league, but I just want to see, like, the good thing is that we had seen different champions here and there. Not like La Liga, Bundesliga, where it's always three teams fighting for it. But it's kind of becoming that, and I don't want that to happen. I want to see a champion each year. I want to see the Tottenhams,
I don't know about Tottenham.
I know, I stopped myself there. But I want to see these teams, even get to a third, second place. Like Arsenal was so close to doing it.
Kind of underdog stories.
Yeah, it's always good. And I mean, if we move to Tottenham, I don't have much to say, but they've had a good start. I mean, their first game of the season is always a little tough, just because the pressure comes in. It's brand new year, and you also lost your striker.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, they've been scoring. So far they've averaged 2 goals a game.
Yeah.
With a tie against
Brentford
2-2. Then they play Manchester United. They beat them 2-0, and they play Bournemouth.
Yeah, AFC Bournemouth.
I'm thinking of Southampton. But yeah, so this Tottenham team, I'm not gonna say it looks better than last year, just because Tottenham is Tottenham.
Yeah.
But they're off to a good start, and I hope they could continue that. Because again, I want to see different teams on the top 6 spots in the league.
Yeah, I think they do. They do have a manager now that they can actually. I feel like they do trust, and that he plays a style of play that the board and the fans want, and kind of seeing the first 11 at least knows how to play the way he wants to play. Getting 2-0 wins and a 2-2 draw.
Here, let's see the top 11 that started last game. If I could pull it up.
Yeah, but to continue my point, they're like kind of second team or their backups. They don't really quite know how to play that way yet, as they have dropped out of the Carabao Cup this past week, losing to Fulham. So
that was interesting too.
Yeah, their first 11 seems to know how the manager wants to play, but we'll have to see how the second 11 does, and what they're able to do for coming into these games, and if they're able to make a difference that is needed.
Yeah, because this team also has good players.
Yeah.
It's an interesting team for sure. But yeah, we'll kind of have to see how things turn out and just see what to expect from this team. I mean, it's a little early. Once again, they don't have the striker they lost.
Yeah.
So that's definitely, but I mean, who knows? Like, I mean, Manchester United doesn't have a striker. I mean, they do, but they don't.
Yeah.
So,
They don't, yeah.
And I would much rather have the game style that this Tottenham has than that Manchester United style.
I agree.
So yeah, I think this wraps up this section. Or did you want to talk about another team? Or do we have another team?
No, I think that's it for those teams.
Oh, Brighton. We didn't talk about Brighton. But
I mean, I think, we cover them real quick. This Brighton team's going to be kind of another team that could be upsetting those regular top 6 teams. They did lose some big midfielders, Caicedo and McAllister, which we've talked about previously, but they still, we know how Brighton is. They spawn new South American 16-year-olds, and they come to this first team and they ball out.
Yeah,
so,
I mean their midfield is pretty solid. Again, we were talking off camera. They haven't really played a super strong team, which they did West Ham. But West Ham, I just have a lot of expectations for this West Ham team just because they kind of kept most of their players and they just got some good signings that could potentially help them out. And their defense that day was just crazy. Like they nothing was going to get them on. So so I mean I still think they're going to be between 5th place and a 9th place team.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's a little too early to kind of just actually commit to that. But I mean, it's still going to be one of those teams where they're going to give Arsenal and Chelsea and Manchester United a good game, and they might end up winning.
Yeah.
They're going to give the Manchester City's a fight. They might end up losing, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be one of those teams, and that's what I would want to see from basically the whole league. It'd be kind of cool. But again, this is what we have for week 3. These are the clubs that kind of stood out a little more to us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, obviously we want to try to cover every single team, but it's way too many teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I want to take time and look at the teams that got promoted and kind of pick those out and see what they have to offer.
Yeah.
That'll be good. But we could move on to week number 4 predictions. And I'm just going to pull up
who's playing who.
Yeah. Oh, so today, actually, in an hour. No, today in an hour? Yeah, today in an hour. Where'd it go?
Let's go to fictions, yeah.
Yeah, today in an hour.
Yeah. It's actually going to be...
Luton against West Ham.
Yeah.
You want to give scores or just...
Here, let's check. Should we check if it's still...
Yeah, check. Do you want me to stop it and then send it? Because this is 22 minutes and I'm going to have to... I'm hitting record.
I mean, yeah, I'll probably...
If anything, we'll probably do a reaction video next time.
Yeah, if anything...
I'm gonna order a battery today.
Okay.
And I gotta go fix my fucking phone.
Should we just cut it there and then I just cut out the transfers and just do that?
Yeah, you could just cut out the transfers.
And do we do the predictions or no?
We should do predictions and we could cut it there. Champions League, or we'll check right now when Champions League starts after we do the predictions.
And we could just talk about the
predictions next week because Champions League's not gonna start.
Yeah.
Because Champions League is we're just gonna look at the. I
think Champions League's not till like October.
I think there's still some time.
Or like late December.
Yeah.
Late September.
There's still some time.
Yeah. Sure. Do you want to do scores or no?
We can do scores just for the fun of it.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna just kind of go through these 10 games going on. We're just gonna give quick score prediction. West Ham Luton. I'm gonna go 3-0 to West Ham. I think that's
I think that's fair. Yeah, 3. Yeah, West Ham has been scoring. They have a solid defense. I'm gonna go 3-1, just because I think. I think they're not gonna be as defensive as they were the past teams. Again, just because obviously as people want to say that they play the same against every team. I don't think that's true.
No.
You obviously play a lower division team, and you're kind of Luton is a weaker team, so I think West Ham's going to be a little loose. We might see a lot of players that didn't get a lot of playing time for the season so far. I personally think, and it's a Friday night game. Do they have a Wednesday night? No, they don't have a week game this week. So yeah, I think 3-1. I think Luton scores 1 goal.
Okay. Moving to Sheffield United versus Everton. Two teams that have kind of been struggling. I know this Everton team's definitely been struggling to score. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw with Sheffield United. I think they're going to score late to upset this Everton team.
Okay, you're committed to it, damn.
Yeah, Sheffield's playing at home. I think Everton fans I feel like this is just a game that's gonna make Everton fans sad, because I feel like they're just gonna they're finally gonna score. They finally can maybe win a game, and then Sheffield is just gonna score some dumb goal.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be 1-1.
I think Sheffield wins 1-0.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be because now that you said a late goal, I think it could go either way. I think it could either be just an early goal where Everton it's asleep first 5 minutes and they score, or it could just be a really late goal.
Yeah, I just feel like whatever it is, it's gonna be just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen and be like, okay, come on, guys. Moving on to Brentford versus Bournemouth. I think this is a 0-0 game. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go 2-1 to Brentford. I think this Brentford team is a bit better. They're playing at home too. Yeah. I just got a feeling.
I think this is 0-0. Place your bets, guys.
Place your bets.
0-0.
Just don't bet on what we're doing.
We're not responsible for any of our predictions.
Yeah.
Spurs, Burnley, Spurs definitely take it. I think they're gonna keep. It was 2-0. I think they win 2-0.
Yeah, I think that's a good prediction.
2-0.
I think I'm actually just gonna go the same. They've been scoring 2 goals a game, and I think they can keep this Burnley team out. 2-0 to Spurs as well.
Yeah, and sorry, these are Saturday games. Sheffield, Everton, all the way to, we'll tell you when.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Forest. I hope Chelsea wins. Just because this is the third time I said in the video, I hate Forest. But I don't know, it might be hard because Forest hasn't looked bad.
Yeah.
And Chelsea hasn't looked great. I think there's going to be a lot of goals. I would probably go for like a 3-2 Chelsea.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-1 to Chelsea. Yeah.
Have we disagreed on any of them?
Brentford and Bournemouth.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then we disagreed on
So we both think Chelsea's gonna win by 1 goal. I think 3-2. He thinks 2-1. Next up, we got Man City against Fulham.
I think it's Man City might.
I honestly would love to see a tie.
Dude. I was gonna say the same thing.
I would love to see a tie.
I was gonna think either a 1-1 or a 2-2. Fulham just tied Arsenal.
And then they beat the second team or the bench of Tottenham.
Yeah.
But they got some motivation going. They tied to Arsenal. They beat Tottenham. Who else did they play?
Let me check. The only thing that does worry me about this is Man City is at home, and the Etihad is known now, at least, for being a pretty hard place to come into.
They beat Everton, which is.
Yeah, and then this Fulham team lost to Brentford. Those are the other games they've played so far.
I would love to see. I'm gonna go with a tie 0-0. The thing is that if they could hold off Man City, it could happen. I feel like if Man City scores one,
That's it.
if it's a late goal, then it's gonna be 1-0. But if they score early, it's not just gonna be one goal. Man City. Once Man City scores, they become a machine and they just kind of go. The next game, I'm super excited for.
This is gonna be one of the I think in the top 3 games to watch for this weekend. The final game on Saturday, Newcastle versus Brighton. I'ma go.
Oh, that's tough.
This is a hard one. I really love this Newcastle team, really. So I'm gonna go.
I'm going.
I think I'm gonna go.
I'm going 1-0 Newcastle. I think it's gonna be tight.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be more than one goal. I think Newcastle wins definitely by one goal. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a 2-1, 1-0 Newcastle. But this is one of those games that if I were to put money in, I would just stay away from.
Yeah.
Because it could go either way. Just because we were talking about Newcastle has been good. But yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. I think 2-1 Newcastle.
I think Newcastle's. I think it's gonna be a 2-goal win for Newcastle. I feel like a super high scoring game. These are 2 pretty attacking teams. I'm gonna say it's 4-2 to Newcastle.
4-2, nice.
Yeah.
6 goals.
I think both teams are just gonna be going at it, just straight slugfest.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's
gonna be a fun game to watch.
It's gonna be exciting. And those are the Saturday.
Yeah, those are all the Saturday games.
Saturday morning. Now on to the Sunday games. Crystal Palace against Wolves. I hope Wolves wins.
I hope we win too. I feel like it's just gonna be a 1-1 draw, kind of a snooze fest. That's kind of how our game's been going. I'm gonna go with 1-1.
I honestly think that. Well, we got some signings. Wolves got some signings. I don't think they'll play.
I don't think so either.
So we got rid of a center mid that's not gonna play. I honestly think, I hope we win, but I think we're gonna lose 1-0.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a huge player that we just lost. So
Yeah.
so Crystal Palace against goes with 1. Hopefully Wolves shuts me up and we go 1. We win.
I think we're gonna tie 1-1. And honestly, I'll take the points on anyway.
Seriously. Yeah. Listen.
Liverpool Aston Villa, another game that's actually probably gonna be pretty good. I'm gonna go 2-0 Liverpool.
With the injury, because he's not back yet, Coutinho. I think they're gonna take Liverpool wins 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah, and they're at home, so
Yeah, Anfield's always
tough to play at. Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
I think 3-0. And it'd be nice to see a 3-0, 4-0 win by Liverpool. I think they need it.
Yeah. Moving on to the final game of match week 4. Another one of the games to watch. Arsenal and Man United. This is another tough one. But I think at this point in the season, this Arsenal team is better than this Man United team. So
I think there's both teams score. I think they tie 2-2.
I'm gonna go with Arsenal 2-0. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why I go 2-2 is a tie. I think it could go either way. I do see Arsenal being a little better, but the main reason why Manchester United hasn't scored a lot is because they hold the ball a lot and they have a lot of possession with the ball. I think this game they're not going to have as much possession. I think the possession might be 60-40 or it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah,
it's not going to be it's not going to be drawn to one side. So that's going to create a lot of space for Manchester United. They're going to be defending. It's going to be a
back and forth
game. So Manchester United's used to having the ball, and I think when they have the ball, that's when they find themselves in a hard position because they can't move forward when they have the ball. Their players don't move off the ball. But being such an open game, I think it's going to create a lot of space, especially for the midfielders to become forwards and score some goals.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like United's attacking options into Arsenal's defensive options, and I just don't see at least.
Well,
these are a lot of Man United players that like running at the defense, and
at least the forwards.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think if Arsenal worries about defending the center mids, they could for sure easily win.
Yeah, but I think like they could bring in like play Rice and Partey, and then you just have Rice basically just stay on Bruno Fernandes, and then Partey stay on whoever's that other attacking midfield option, and that kind of cuts off everything from Man
Plus,
United.
also Manchester United's been getting some hate just because of the way they've been playing.
Yeah.
So if they want to make a statement, this is the game to do so.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a little bit different motivation to this game from both sides, honestly.
I mean, a historic rivalry for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's the last game on Sunday, last game of the week. I think they tied 2-2. I'm gonna stick to 2-2.
But I'm gonna stick with my 2-0 to
2-0.
Arsenal.
All right, well, you guys should comment what your predictions are, and
Honestly, you'll probably be seeing this either halfway through the week or at the end of the week. So,
yeah.
Maybe we were spot on with some of these. Maybe we were completely
But do
off.
not make any bets. Well, I
Yeah.
guess the good thing's gonna be they're probably gonna see it after. So
Yeah,
That
you
would-
can't make any bets.
that
at this
would,
point.
we're not responsible for any.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. Are we gonna talk about anything else? Do you have any?
No, I think we've probably rambled on for long enough. We kind of went a little more in depth than we kept thinking we were going to with these teams. But
Yeah.
obviously, it tends to be a trend with us at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
The only thing I wanna do before we leave is I'm gonna say the standings, and I want us to commit to top five
top 5.
teams before we go, and then you guys can comment your top 5 or top 3 teams.
Okay.
So right now the standings are Manchester City with 9 points in first, West Ham in seventh,
In second.
in second with 7 points. Sorry, Tottenham third with 7, Liverpool, I guess it's all 7. Liverpool and Arsenal fourth and fifth with 7 points. I think if I'm gonna go first, I'm gonna think Manchester City ends up winning again this year. West Ham in second. I see Arsenal in third. Tottenham in fourth, and then the fifth place is I'm kind of torn. I think Brighton or Newcastle take that fifth spot.
Okay.
So first Man City, West Ham, then I said Arsenal, right?
I don't remember if it was Tottenham or Arsenal. I don't remember your third and fourth, which order it was.
I Arsenal, then fourth I said Tottenham, and then the fifth I'm torn between Brighton and Newcastle, but I think I'm gonna go for Newcastle.
Okay. I'm going to go Manchester City first. I think at this point, betting against Manchester City in the league is not a good idea. Second, this might be kind of like your West Ham pick. I'm actually going to go with Newcastle second. Third, I'm going to go with Arsenal too.
It's tough.
Yeah. I think I might go with Liverpool fourth. Now that they signed, or that hopefully that transfer goes through, because I'm kind of betting on it. Fourth, I'm gonna go with Liverpool, and then fifth, I'm going Tottenham, with them just missing out on Champions League football.
You don't think West Ham gets up there?
I think they'll be in sixth because they are going to be playing in the Europa League, and I think they're going to go pretty far in the Europa League, and that's going to affect some of their league games.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Where I think this Newcastle team, we're not going to talk about the Champions League right now. We were planning on it, but we kind of went a little bit too far. But I don't see Newcastle making it out of the Champions League. So
I mean, they'll definitely. I think they could go through the group.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I think so. The way that.
PSG, Milan, and Dortmund.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of a different team. Sure. You know what? I'm gonna look them up.
I don't see this Newcastle team basically making it out of Champions League group stage. They're either gonna get Europa League football, which they might crash out of, or I really see them getting fourth in this group. I just don't think they're at the level to compete with these teams up. So I think that.
Well, honestly, I think
focus
in Group
for
F,
me.
the team to beat is gonna be Newcastle if they want to make it. I think PSG might be the weakest team. If
I still see them
I think
getting
I
through, though.
you see them on top.
I think Milan's gonna get first in that group. I think PSG will get second, Dortmund third, Newcastle.
You think
fourth.
so? You
Yeah.
think so? I still think Newcastle's gonna be last, but I think Milan, Dortmund, PSG.
I want to, but I just like this PSG team just has too much talent, you know, and I think their league's too weak for them not to have a good team in all of their Champions League games.
Yeah, I was thinking about Arsenal's group.
Arsenal should win their group,
Yeah.
or I mean, you know, when Spanish teams do Spanish things and Europa's.
Which you never know.
Yeah, Spanish teams are always good in Europe.
But yeah, so yeah, I still think West Ham is up there. I hope they stay up there.
I mean, yeah, they're gonna be a fun team to watch.
And so far, City's the only team that has not lost or tied. They've only won.
Yeah,
And I mean, we have 4 teams that are undefeated, 5 teams that are undefeated. The first of 5.
yeah.
So yeah, that'll be good. Do we have any teams that have just tied? No, that's
No.
always good luck. But no, yeah. So that's it for this week in this video.
episode.
Please follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be posting more often on there now that we are going to be able to record more.
Yeah.
As we're figuring out our schedule, school, work, those kind of things.
Yeah, and then we'll have the links down here.
Yeah.
Down below.
Links in the description for sure. TikTok, Instagram, Spotify. If you would rather watch this here on Spotify.
I mean, by YouTube, just
Yeah.
go subscribe on YouTube.
Subscribe.
We'll be trying to post a video every week, and we're also gonna do some reaction videos.
Yeah. Stay tuned for
Those are
MLS reactions at least.
Those are for sure gonna be MLS, some Liga MX, because I've been seeing some funny stuff happen in Liga
Yeah.
MX. So stay tuned for those. Then you'll for sure get some next week.
Yeah.
But as of now, please comment your top 5 teams at the end of the season, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Later.
Peace.